an entry point to reach to the communities. And the most important stakeholders are the people who are taking part in this super Nawetan. Right. And the media's role here is to transmit the message of the organizing committee as regards the continuation of the Super Nawetan and its entire organization, so that the media personnel who are members of the society, they are also critical stakeholders. They have the personnel who later I will read their names to you, all have the media advantage, and that is they all belong to various media establishments. The media establishments is what they are going to use as a platform to reach to the general public, either print or electronic.
Either what is the message to the public out there, especially to the fans,
exactly,
ahead of the commencement or the restart of the zonal championship?
All right, thank you very much, MS, for the opportunity once again. Like Bibi said earlier, the whole concept and the whole idea of this media committee is to reach out to the public. It's easier for us to reach out to the public than the organizing committee of the Super Nawetan, than the GFF executive. This is why we're coming on board, like to help when it comes to the sensitization, the need for peace and stability in sports generally, more especially in football. Like we always say, there are war zones in this world, but you never see football being played in those grounds. They are only played in peaceful environments. For that being the case, we always advocating for this peace, and that peace can always match with something like a discipline, because sometimes it depends on the discipline of the person and the maturity level of that person to make sure that there will be no violence when it comes to football grounds. Because like in certain instances you would have the fans who are part of it. Sometimes you even have the coaches themselves involved, or even the player on the ground will be involved in this violence, which is bad. And now we've been saying no to it, and we will continue to say no to violence in football, especially in Gambian football, knowing that the step we are taking, we are moving towards the direction of developing sports, especially football in the Gambia. We want to see football in another level, and if it has to move on with violence, then it will work. It's like we all putting ourselves in a big hole and we'll be all buried there, then we forget about football. And that's not what we want. That's not what the Gambian people love. Even the fans out there who are creating the violence, I know very well that this is not what you all want. So for that being the case, maybe you don't know some of the consequences, you know, of encouraging violence in football. So this is why we've decided to come on board. Tell them what exactly is happening when it comes to the development of football. We are all hungry to see Gambia in African Cup of Nations, much more in the World Cup. But we have a very long way to go, and this is where we start. We all know Nawetans are the best places where the first division coaches scout their players. We all know Super Nawetan is the most watched sporting activity in this country. When it is Super Nawetan, mini stadiums are jam-packed, they are full. People are even thinking of taking back the league to the communities, let them own league clubs. But if things are going this way, can we have that even mentality or even that mind, like the authorities concerned, to take everything back to the community? They will say, when we give it to the community, violence happens, and we don't need that. We will keep on upwelling to the coaches, to each and every stakeholder concerned who has a say in football. Say no to violence in football. If you really have football inside your heart, deep inside your heart, especially the players who said, hey, this is what I want to live my life for. This is my career. You should not sit back and see anything that will spoil it. Even if you have a young fan out there, please talk to that person. I'm urging you on behalf of me as a player. I know you like to come and see me play. Please, if you go to the field, don't do this, don't do that.
Like Ada highlighted, the zonals is by far the country's most exciting football competition.
Absolutely.
Widely followed. Even people who have less interest in football leave their businesses, leave everything to go and watch when their zones are playing. But it's been very unfortunate to see our football, especially the zone that has been seen by many as the future of Gambian football, being beset by violence, fighting, match venues turned into running battles between fans, with security and all those. It's definitely pathetic. It's definitely shocking. What should the people know? What message should we send out? Should we send to the people, especially to the fans, some of the officials, who are involved in creating this violence in the Super Nawetan?
Yes, thank you once again. It is very important, like you rightly put it. There should be a message put across to the fraternity and to the stakeholders involved, so that what occurred before would not occur again. I highlighted something which I want to go back to it. That is, fans and stakeholders should restrain themselves from committing violence. Because the organizing committee and the Gambia Football Federation executive, in consultation with the key stakeholders, for example, the security arm, the Ministry of Youth and Sports in particular, has to be made mention, the National Sports Council, and some critical stakeholders found this Super Nawetan to be very, very important. And like it has to be transformed to our national league. But that has to take a process. But during that process taking, we cannot play the Super Nawetan and even the league in a crisis situation. And that is why in contemporary football, you are told that football can only take place when there is peaceful coexistence that exists on the ground. If there is no peaceful coexistence existing on the ground, there will not be any football activity, there will not be, in fact, any sporting activity can't take place there. And that is why I always like to take examples of Syria. There is no football activity taking place in Syria because there is a civil war, I can call it. For example, in Central African Republic, as we speak, there is civil war. Nobody would go to a Central African Republic and play a football tournament there because they are on the crisis situation. But so also in the Gambia, we have our peace and we are enjoying our peace. If we want our football tournament to continue in peace, we have to make sure that the peace that we have here is sustained and nobody should go into violence. And that is one key important area that we also have to make mention of. Let fans not take the law into their own hands. That is why we are involving the security. Many a fan will tell you that security is malhandling or security is not adequate. The fans are outnumbering the security. But I'm sure when you invite one of our security personnel who will also come on board to explain the security apparatus aspect, he will tell you that on the day, that is why all matches are now being transferred from the local grounds to the independent state, that the local grounds now, there is too much pandemonium and too much violence and the stakeholders taking the law into their own hands. And that is not the motive and aim of the organizing committee together with the Gambia Football Federation and also the critical stakeholders, for example, the Ministry of Youth and Sports. And now that all matches are going to take place at the independent stadium, we hope and pray to happen at the local grounds would not occur at the independent stadium because there is security. When I mean security at the independent stadium, there are stands, there are pavilions, the independent stadium is structured in such a way that we don't anticipate that there would be trouble that would be out of hands in the hands of the security. So we want to call on every stakeholder coming to watch games. Let them not take the law into their own hands. Let them respect the rules and regulations stipulated by the organizing committee in consultation with the Gambia Football Federation and its critical partners.
And besides, the fans should know that, or anybody coming to that match, to any of the games, should know that you are coming there to watch football. You are coming there, or you're going there to support your zone. And this is football. You might either lose, you might either win, or you share the points. And whatever happens, you have to accept the results in good faith. This is what is important. This is what we need to know. You understand that we are going there to watch football. It could be your zone who will take the day. It might not be the case. But whatever happens, this is football. We have to accept results in good faith. This is what is more important. And fans, we tend not to accept results. You understand? That's the cause of most of these violences.
Absolutely.
You understand? Your team has been scored a goal, you felt that okay, the refereeing decision is not correct, even whereas it is correct. You tend to take it as personal. Okay, the referee is against my zone, which is not the case. You understand? I think you want to come.
Yeah, Ames, I was even coming into that. It's about the refereeing issue. I think one thing we have to understand here is that referees are human like us. They are trained to do the job. That is the profession or the career they have choose to do. But that doesn't mean they are different. They are human like us. Mistakes can occur. But one thing we always have to know is that a referee's decision is the final. And if you feel, especially coaches whom you know they are already in the field, if there are certain things happen, it can